make more good in the all-new Sportage X-Pro. Kia, movement that inspires.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
New Trail Brewing Company proudly crafts their beers right here in central Pennsylvania. Brewed with only the best possible ingredients, New Trail produces a variety of year-round brands as well as weekly experimental recipes. New Trail Broken Heels is Pennsylvania's favorite local hazy IPA. This beer is smooth and full-bodied. Hand-selected Citra hops lead to notes of bright clementine and juicy ruby red grapefruit. Broken Heels is perfect for a pregame tailgate all the way through the victory celebration.
What's the best mid-size pickup? Tacoma. What's the #1 mid-size truck in resale value? Tacoma. Want to get great gas mileage, 4 doors, and 4-wheel drive? Tacoma. Sioka Toyota of Williamsport has over 25 available right now. You can lease a brand new, never-driven Toyota Tacoma for just $379 a month. That's 30 months, 3,000 cash or trade, 10,000 miles a year. This is while supplies last. Buy yours or reserve yours today and see the Sioka difference. And remember, tell them Johnny sent you.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome into another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. This is the Dear Goon. I'm the Dear Ironhead.
We're in a psychedelic.
Which we got a little bit of an echo. I don't know if that's
very psychedelic up in here.
Not a big deal if it's just our headphones. I just don't know what's going on and what's not. Thank you.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. Lots to get into today. I mean, a whole lot to get into. We won't be able to, I suspect, to delve into everything that we could today, but just a couple of things real quick. And I really, for a multitude of reasons, love what I saw out of Penn State on Saturday. Taking care of business against an admittedly inferior opponent, but I mean, making them look every bit the inferior opponent that they were, taking care of business, despite the Joey Porter's absence, and I think that is big. And the defense played as fast as it's played all season. Good. I mean, they were flying to the football, and I'm kind of watching it thinking, okay, where were these guys in Ann Arbor again? Because and listen, I mean, obviously part of it is this is Maryland. Penn State was playing, that was Michigan, but that defense was on top of its game. Sean Clifford not on top of his game, but worked his way through it as he is wont to do. I still, and it's not that big of a deal to me, not the end of the world. I still would like to see Aller getting more snaps earlier in these games.
He does talk about getting him snaps, and he had the opportunity in the second quarter. He could have gone out there and done that and had some significant time, but he keeps on saying he wants to get him time. Yeah. And then every chance he has, he doesn't give it to him.
Well, and the thing is, if Clifford's struggling, I mean, again, it's Clifford's at a point now of his career. I mean, his confidence is not going to be shaken by that. And if you pull him out and say, hey, let's just watch this series, right, and then put him back in, I think, I don't know. To me, that would have made a lot of sense. But still a lot of reasons, again, to remain optimistic about the future. Rutgers, obviously this is the game Rutgers will have circled on its calendar. I can't see. I mean, Maryland has that game circled on the calendar too, and I don't think Rutgers has a ways to go to get to where Maryland is offensively, and Penn State just shut out Maryland. So it's hard to envision.
Good.
No,
they really didn't look good. They looked like they were done, that they were fried, and they didn't want to play. Our guys just a relentless pass rush. Tua didn't want to be on that field anymore at all. Or to his brother, excuse me.
Well, he was looking around. I mean, he literally was looking around after some of those plays. Yeah,
it's called shell shock.
To figure out, what was happening. Turtle shell shock.
Oh, Lord.
It turns out.
So that's like you said. this is exactly what we had to do to that team. We did. I mean, you had to go out there, and this is the problem with the years past. I thought that they always let somebody like that sneak up and clip them. So if they keep that mentality going through, because, I mean, as you well know, I say it every damn week, but me and Chris have the show on Monday night. So these guys, they're still talking big, New Year's Day 6 bowl. I mean, that's their aiming point right now, and they're locked in. They are really, really locked into it.
And listen, I haven't really looked at what the projected matchups right now
I got
are.
A couple today. I was like, they're all pretty cool.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you just look at it right now. Some of the possibilities that are out there, right, would be Alabama, Oregon. Yep. I mean, they're like games that would get you
absolutely,
I think, fired up if you're a Penn State fan.
Correct.
And I think if you're just a football fan, it's like, well, yeah, I want to check out a Penn State Alabama matchup, or I want to check out there's about. And again, I haven't even looked. I don't know what the experts are saying, but you start going through the potential here for different conferences and different teams. And if Penn State does get to 10-2, I mean, it's a lock with it being Penn State that they'll be in a New Year's Six bowl. And I think that again creates an opportunity to get a bowl game that, yes, gets everybody excited and gets fans interested, but also I think can help set the table then for what you are hoping is future success in the next step, finally, in this process for Penn State. But going back to Saturday, so, again, taking care of business against a team you should take care of business against, fantastic. Playing good complementary football, fantastic. Getting the run game going in a big way, again, fantastic. Like to see them be able to do that on the road now, which would be another just kind of step, if you will, against Rutgers. And then a Michigan State team that suddenly has maybe found itself. And
maybe they get the right 82 kids off the team.
Figured some things out. It's.
I think he pulled the reins on those kids. I really do.
And
Mel Tucker being after the Michigan incident, I think he really reeled his guys in, and it's looking. Do I have this right? Goon, it'll be a 6-way tie for the Big Ten West this year. It's a 7-way tie. There's only 6 or 8-way tie. There's only 7 teams. I don't know how that's going to happen, but what's your prediction?
On the West?
Yeah, who do you think
somebody somehow is going to be given an opportunity to get waxed by
there's
Ohio
no doubt
State
about
or
it.
Michigan?
What's your call? West, who do you think is going to pull it out? Really? Yeah. I'm going to say Minnesota. Just like, wouldn't that be the most Minnesota PJ Fleck thing of all time? I mean, Illinois got Michigan this week, and then they got Northwestern. So they're going to go 1-1.
Yep. So
we know that. Paul, everybody needs a little bit of help. So Purdue,
I think, is sitting in pretty good shape. I would probably lean Purdue, but not a real strong feeling.
Yeah, it's
any which way. But my prediction is it's not going to be a real good team coming out of the West.
You know how the pendulum swings every 10 or 15 years? Yeah. Or, that's never happened with the Big Ten. I mean, it has been East dominated since the start. I mean, granted, we have your 4 of your top 6 teams are in the one conference,
one division, yeah.
Well, one conference, excuse me. So, I mean, I guess it's sort of expected, but geez,
I think when you look at, when you look at the landscape moving forward, when we go to the expanded playoffs, and the Big Ten has expanded teams, I think getting rid of divisional play makes a ton of sense, and it sounds like that is the direction the conference is.
Well, the Big 12, I just found this out last night. I didn't know this. They are actually going to have the top 2 teams in their whole conference play. Because they haven't had a Big 12 title game.
Yeah, which is what you should do.
Which it should be, yeah. But it would be Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
But they split, and then they go to the playoff, and they actually got to play each other again.
Yeah. I think that's fine. I'd rather that than watch the winner of that game play, any of the, Purdue, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, whatever it is. It's just not going to be fun.
Do you remember last year's game?
I'm
not putting you on the spot. I remember. I mean, I'm just saying that's just how minuscule it would be. Michigan beat Iowa by like 45-3 or something like that. And it started off 3-0.
Yeah. No, I think
nothing.
But so I think for Penn State, again, it's just a matter of trying to take care of business over the next 2 weeks, which they did a terrific job of against Maryland. And I think you set the stage again for what could be a terrific end to this season. But what you're really hoping is propelling the program finally to take that next step next season.
I have been comparing this team the way I hear the current kids talking. So me and Chris, I'll sit there on the TV show last night, and we'll be talking like this team, like the last few years teams remind me of like the 92 team. And I always compare when stuff goes wrong, guys shell up and just start worrying about their future. I think that's the way Penn State has been the last 2 years. I think James has weeded those guys out, those kids out. These kids are such a well-led by senior class, team-driven guys that reminds me of the 93 team. Mike Malinowski, Lubin Fatty, Derek Pickett, Bonner. There's some Lubin Fati, Taoka, Eric Ravati. There's a couple. There's a lot of other guys. Offensively, we didn't have to replace. We replaced Pickett and Mao, but then they were the leaders and they took a few lumps. But then in '94, they taught us how to be good leaders and stuff like that. And I think that the similarities between the 92 team and last year's team, 93 and this year's team, and the next year's having the possibility of having a really good damn team. I mean, we have. I think we've had 16 players on this year. I think 5 have been D linemen. Dude, they're loaded, and they're so young. The amount of talent they have at a younger age right now is ridiculous. Yeah, and I'm just seeing the way it's building. I mean, Kerry Collins struggled for a few years and this and that. In the 93, got late in the year, he started balling. And that's why I sort of wanted Aller to play a little bit more to get some of his hiccups out of the way now, rather than going into next season and having to risk losing a few games because of quarterback brain farts. So, we're not getting that. So we got to go on with what we do. But I like this team. I like where they're going next year. I like but we got to finish this season strong, and they know it. And that's the best part, to hear them talking about it, to hear them sit there saying, yeah, we got this. We got to go, Rose Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Orange Bowl, Citrus Bowl. I mean, dude, that's 4 just absolute slammer, good times, great bowls, a great jumping off point to kick your next season off. Go out, kick an SEC team's ass in the South, or go out west and beat a Pac-12 team. Get the 2023 season off to a start on a good note.
Turning our attention to
it's beautiful weather, man.
Just a beautiful day as the snow continues to fall in the Valley of Happiness. Any truth to the rumor? I heard Guy Godowski's they may be reworking the schedule and trying to get Denver in here for a couple of games.
Quick game, this one game, one and done.
Since Denver is now number 1 in the college hockey rankings, pretty remarkable stuff what the Nittany Lions have pulled off the last couple of weekends. And listen, they're in the mix. I mean, there's probably 10 teams right now that you're like, if they get healthy and hot at the right time, they could win the whole thing. Penn State is one of them. Yeah. And we'll see how it all plays out.
That. He gets those guys going in that late season.
I'm telling you, the pressure that they are able to put on opposing goalies and really defenses as a whole is very, very impressive stuff. And I think that it's just going to be fun to see what this team does down the stretch. But they have proven over the last couple of weekends that they are legit contenders in the Big Ten and on the national.
I got some pretty important big-time Michigan hockey fan and a college hockey fan type of guys. And some Michigan fans 2 weeks ago were complaining because it was a backup goalie that's why that Penn State won. And then He actually came out and said absolutely no way, had nothing to do with the goalie. He actually played. He stood on his head.
Yeah.
They should have lost by 12 goals if it wasn't for him. So don't let that fool you when people say, well, you played against Michigan's backup goalie, because it didn't matter when you outshoot a team 45-12 and just completely dominate up and down the ice, both sides of the ice. Again, I mean, we talk about how Guy is so good at getting his guys going and for playoff runs and for Big Ten runs, and they're already rolling right now. So if he can build on top of that, I mean, geez, man, they might make a run amongst all of our other teams that are making runs right now.
Well, and that is where I was going to go next. Absolutely,
it's job or something.
It is remarkable when you look around the Penn State athletic department right now at what all is happening and how competitive these teams are on the national stage right now. Again, football is poised to be finish in the top 10. And maybe, when it's all said and done, it still could be, in the top probably 6 when it's all said and done in terms of the final rankings. Both soccer teams have had phenomenal seasons. And the women's team, I think, is, again, in the mix.
West Virginia Friday night.
Field hockey team.
Field hockey's in the Final Four.
Yep.
Why do they say
to the national semifinals?
Does basketball own the rights to Final Four?
Probably.
Because they keep on saying national semifinals, and I'm like, that's the Final Four.
Yep.
Right? I'm not crazy, right?
Wow.
So basketball is copyrighted the name Final Four. Yeah.
And how about that basketball team?
And
everybody's been worried that, you're so reliant on the three. What happens on a night when they're not all falling? Well, you go out and beat Butler is what happens.
That was good for Shrew because that's where he came from. So that was a little something to him.
But it also it was a good win because Butler came back, took the lead, and then, all right, let's see how Penn State reacts. They reacted very well. Butler. The one concern, and I think it remains a concern, is the size or lack thereof on the Penn State roster. But size on paper would have been an issue last night, and Penn State out-rebounded Butler, which is, again, not insignificant. So I continue to love what Micah Shrewsbury is doing with that program and the way these guys are responding to him. And listen, I mean, you can't help but notice that unlike for decades and decades, Penn State is athletically competitive. It's not that Penn State has to play that perfect game to hang in there and, defense has to play out of its mind to give them a chance. No, it's like, no, let's go out and play. And regardless of who it is, athletically, Penn State's, at least going to be competitive. I mean, it's not a mismatch right now. On that front, and that is, again, a shift of pretty big proportions for the Penn State program. And the recruiting trail is obviously where it starts, and Shrewsbury has done a terrific job with these first couple of classes. So
they're going to be fun to watch. Have you met Shrew?
A couple times, yeah.
He's such a personable guy, such a really good guy, and you're happy for guys like that. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, I don't not to go back, but I also want to say that Pat Chambers is doing a hell of a job at Florida Gulf Coast.
Yes, he is.
Opened up with a win over USC last week, San Diego. I think they won. I think they're 2-1 or 3-0 right now. So Pat's doing great. But you get into these Big Ten or Big East Big Ten challenges and stuff like that. I think that's what it was last night. Did we figure that out, Chris, or no? It was the Big East Big Ten challenge, right? Or no? Was this some kind of championship series game? Yeah. Okay, I got you. So it was good to see. And then again, I go back to that being good for Shrew because he had come from Butler and now he's up there, and people are starting to take a deep hard look at going to Penn State right now when it comes to basketball. That's how I feel. So, you and I have talked about this repeatedly on the radio. It just drives me crazy that they have these midweek or just weeknight games, 8:30 at night. How do they expect any of our fans? Our fan base is 3 hours away. The majority of our fan base is 3 hours away. Either way, up, down, left, right. It's just we got to do something to try and get more weekend games here. I think it's just to try to get because Philadelphia people, Pittsburgh people. It's not driving into State College, catching a hoop game, and then driving home. It's not feasible.
Right.
I love that we have great fans now, but they're not that great of fans. No one can do that and then try to go to work the next night. So they got to try and start working at it and get the bigger games on the weekends and your lesser runs during the week. I think. And we got to get some basketball support from the students right now. I think after this past weekend, I think they were a little burnt out after the season. So it'd be interesting to see. But historically, when they've done well, when they started playing well, they do start showing up. So, hell, if you only get a quarter of the students out there, you're still going to have a packed house. So
for sure,
we need to start getting behind them and all that. And they're fun to watch. They are really fun to watch. Actually.
Yep. Yeah, it is an entertaining style of basketball, and I think we'll see how the season unfolds. Obviously, the Big Ten is loaded as per usual, but I really think Penn State legitimately should be expecting that it can compete night in and night out. And, not to say you're not going to have – I think most teams are going to have an off night where the other team's on and you're going to have some lopsided games either way, but that's going to include some very good teams that are going to be for sure NCAA tournament bound. So
interesting.
I think it's going to be an exciting season. Unfortunately, the one down note for the Penn State athletic program is Goon, they're obviously in rebuilding mode, and I realize that with the wrestling program, but you cannot be losing 1 out of every 10 bouts and expect to be where you want to be.
It happened Friday night. I saw the opening bout, and I said, here it is. This is it. We're not going to win a bout tonight. Not happening. Not happening. Not going to win one match.
We'll see. There's an outside chance that as the season goes along, they'll improve, and somewhere down the road, these guys can, at least be middle of the road, Big Ten, and hopefully someday get back into a competitive mode.
So I'm working on getting out to my nationals down in Tulsa this year. You're lucky you have a couple people to call. You might have the university doing your beckoning and your bargaining on your flights and there's not an easy way down to Tulsa.
No.
And I understand Oklahoma is a big wrestling hotbed, but 2 of the next 3 in the state of Oklahoma. Now, I guess we did have 2 of the 3 in the Pennsylvania and Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and back-to-back couple of years in Cleveland. And we need to get back east, Jeffrey. We need to get back east.
It's coming. Yeah, it'll be coming.
Listen, how was that match? Did it just look
good? A couple of things about it. Lockhaven fought hard and went out and was trying to be aggressive, which plays into Penn State's hands. But you like seeing that, and I think as usual, Scott Moore is doing a terrific job with that Lockhaven program. But listen, I really think if Penn State stays healthy, this team has a chance to be as good, if not better, than any of Cale's teams to this point. And I'm talking about top to bottom.
Seeds and a 2.
Yeah, right now,
have
four
top-ranked
wrestlers. Well, they've had 5 champs each of the last 2 years.
No.
So
project, ranked.
Well, yeah.
Were they ranked number 1s?
Yeah, we've had 5 champs the last 2 years. But when you look at the overall, and again, Van Ness and Facundo are going to, I think, work their way up the rankings. I think that the 2 guys that you're really kind of keeping an eye on and seeing how the season unfolds is Bo Bartlett at 141. And, again, he's going to be competitive. Can he win those close matches against top-end guys, top-end being, top 5, 6 guys? And then Terrell Barraclough, how much of a leap has he made, and how competitive can he be against guys that are legit All-American contenders?
I got a wrestling question for you. So, I mean, I know it's an individual sport, but it's team backing and stuff like that. So, you got a guy like Brooks who's obviously going for a 4th national title, correct?
Third this year.
Third.
Yep.
But he's got 2. He has this year and next year left, right? So he could be a 4-timer, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, does a guy like that go down to the younger guys in the younger weight and try and help them out at all? I mean, I know they don't really. Do they mingle around when in different weights and stuff like that? Like
and
trying
the
to pump
thing
each
is,
other up and like,
well, yeah, and there's a lot of hey. How did you do that when you're watching? And I mean, this has been going on. That's one of the neat things about the room is and it starts obviously with Cale and that coaching staff and their unselfish nature, but it's also the kids that they recruit. I mean, and it is one of the things that they specifically look for. I mean, I'm not going to name names, but there have been high-end can't miss prospects that Penn State's like, we're good on, because the when you're watching them around their high school teammates, they're off by themselves. They're they're not into the match when their teammates are competing, and it's a big deal for these guys. That they want guys that are engaged in the team aspect and want that component of the sport. And listen, you've seen it consistently over the years. I still think one of the coolest things when you go back and look at the and there's been many other examples, but when Vincenzo Joseph pins Isaiah Martinez, you look at both the teammates and their reaction, which, I mean, they're jumping up and down and going crazy and high-fiving each other. But then you also, there's a shot of the parents in the stands, and they're kind of sitting together as a group. And I'm telling you, you would not have been able to pick out whose kid that was based on the parents' reactions. All of the parents were like, it was as though their son just won the national title. And that is the type of buy-in that you want, right? I mean, every coach wants that for every program is, I want the entire family engaged and enthused and fired up, obviously, for their son and their kids, but also, we want that for the program. And, they have that and have had that. And it is a big deal. It's part of the recipe for success that Cale has. You
just said something that I hope that anybody out there listening has children that are being recruited or want to be recruited. Dude, the coaches and the scouts are looking. They're not looking more so at your wrestling or your skills or your hoop skills or football, this or that. They want to see how you interact with people. They really, really do. I'm telling you, that's almost like the nonverbal communication that an athlete gives off.
Yep,
that's exactly what they look for. And I know the old man used to pull a lot of scholarships on this. If a recruit did not mix well with his players, he just stopped recruiting them and told them, hey, your next place isn't for you. And obviously, Cale has the ability to do that. And, people are going to say, well, why would you do that? But you just said.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons to go into that. He doesn't have to say why, but it's his decision.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that. I mean, that was a great analogy you just gave, a great scenario right there. And you didn't know whose kid it was out there. They were all laughing and cheering. And I would like to see Illinois' bench. I don't kind of know what kind of guy Imart was. If he was beloved, they'd be all dejected in this and that. Or they were just like, whatever.
Yeah. No, so anyways, this team has a chance, I think, to forge a pretty special place for itself in the ever-growing lore of the Penn State wrestling program. But I really think you have I think at least 9 legit All-America contenders. That's not to say they'll have 9 All-Americans at the end of the year, but I think you have 9 guys that it's not crazy to sit here and think that they could be on the podium. And and Gary Steen, we'll see. It was the first match, obviously collegiately, against a really strong opponent. I'm going to be curious to see if because I think if Steen keeps his confidence, and that's going to be a big part of it here. I think he has a skill set to get himself in pretty good position by the time March rolls around. But it's really going to be allowing yourself to absorb, tough losses, and then applying lessons learned in those losses and making adjustments in the room week in and week out. And obviously he has a room where you can do that, but you got to take advantage of it. And so, I wouldn't rule out even a 10th All-American possibility. But I think, 9 strong contenders at this point for at least All-America honors. And I really think you have at least 5, and we'll see how the season plays out, but I think there's 6 or 7 that could work themselves into national title contention here by the time the season ends. So, but college wrestling has gotten off to a flying start. A lot of interesting results just in the first couple of weekends of competition here on the collegiate level. But I do think this is between the fall and winter sports, this at least has a chance to be just one of those years that you talk about for a long time if you're an overall fan of the Penn State athletic department, because again, hockey, basketball, wrestling, all I think have a chance to make some significant noise throughout the season. Obviously, field hockey has a chance to win a national title. Women's soccer, I think, has a chance, is going to be in the mix to win a national title. Got a lot of things going on right now. And I think, the spring sports, which traditionally have been kind of the down, if you look at the 3 seasons, that's been the one that's struggled the most. Women's volleyball, by the way, I don't know if put them in the national title contender, but, that's a program that I think if some things break right, could at least get to the Elite 8 and depending on the matchup, maybe even the Final Four.
Upgraded the whole conference. We joined the Big Ten and Russ. I'm sure that there was it was all West Coast back in the day. Now it's pretty much all Big Ten and Central.
No question.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean,
yeah,
it's just ridiculous how it was all West Coast for our whole youth growing up. I mean, there was hardly any kind of East Coast bias at all, right?
Yep.
And women's volleyball now, you're not even getting out there. You got Stanford, but you got you get your all your Big Ten teams. Crap, man. They upped that level. Like I always say, Penn State football upped the level of the Big Ten.
Yeah,
they really did. I mean, there was, sort of embarrassing, but the Big Ten hadn't played for a national title since 1968.
Yep.
Or won a national title. I mean, that's just insane to think about, and what they've done since and how they've been competitive in there since we've joined the Big Ten. I mean, do we want to say that we gave them let's start thinking nationally and quit trying to think like Michigan still does with their whole, win the Big Ten. And that means everything to us, conference play. So,
Yep. Gymnastics teams, by the way, for the winners should be very, very competitive as well. Men, very, very competitive. And then, again, the spring sports lacrosse has obviously been solid for a while, but I think both the baseball and the softball team also have a chance to really take a significant leap forward in the conference and on the national stage.
Forward, baseball, in my opinion.
Yep, agreed. And listen, for the college football playoffs and how the season finishes up is going to be very intriguing, because there were people that were already trying to lobby for Oregon, and whoops.
I watched that game yesterday. Did you see it?
I actually fell asleep, believe it or not, in the fourth quarter.
What happened?
I saw that.
Are you kidding me?
Well,
what an arrogant coach.
Yep.
Just play the rules. Go to overtime, dude. He goes for it on 4th and 2 when the guy slips and then puts them almost in field goal territory, and that's what they lose by.
Yep.
Lord almighty. I mean, if I'm Oregon, I'm furious. I mean, you were a 16-point favorite, so you should be furious at yourself, first of all.
Yeah.
But second of all, as a player, you got to be like, come on, man. And as a fan, you must be furious with the head coach. Jesus.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah. So I was watching the people who had projected, and I'm like, Oregon's back on the top 6. And then, it came out of really nowhere for me, I guess. I hadn't been watching it that much, but then paid more attention to it the last 2 weeks, and I couldn't believe how that game ended. So we go back to like last week. I was saying it's good to see that TCU is going to get their love, but, the the Big Ten, Michigan and Ohio State, looks like they're both going to get in no matter what. I mean, it's got to be a close game because the only reason Tennessee is out because they just lost such a bad game to Georgia, and then now their loss to Alabama doesn't look that special anymore, in my opinion.
The win over Alabama.
The win over Alabama.
Yeah,
Sorry, excuse me. But that doesn't look too pretty right now because of how Alabama is not being that dominant as they have been, but
yeah, not dominant, but people are making it out like this is some sort of an atrocious season that Nick Saban's squad is putting together. It was 2 really close road game losses to really good teams. I don't know. It's just funny the way perceptions. And listen, as we sit here right now, it's still possible that the 2 teams that Bama lost to could both end up in the college football playoffs, depending on how
who's playing in the
out.
SEC title game? Georgia's going to play Alabama, right? Because Tennessee is in the East.
Correct.
I don't know how that happens, but they're in the East.
And Bama, what if
Bama upsets Georgia?
Well, exactly.
I mean, do you put it past them? I don't.
Absolutely not. Especially with all of the talk. You think Nick Saban isn't loving a spot where he gets to be where everybody is writing him completely off going into the matchup with a team that is not exactly devoid of talent. I mean, I know there's complaints that they don't have the top end wide receiver talent. Top end meaning that they don't have like a top 5 draft pick. It's not like that receiving core is struggling mightily. It's so anyway.
God, can you imagine the disarray that would happen if Bama beats Georgia? So then you'd have to take Bama, right?
Well, I don't know because it's going to be interesting because you have LSU sitting there with 2 losses and a win over Bama.
Oh my God!
You're going to have
Georgia with 1 loss, so they're in no matter what.
Tennessee. Well, I don't know that that's even necessarily true. I mean, if it's a competitive game, that's probably true. But I mean, if Bama wins by a couple of touchdowns,
oh my goodness,
and Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, I don't think it's an absolute lock. I think it's extremely likely that Georgia is in, but I don't think it's a lock because you got to see how everything else plays out and who else.
I could see a 1-loss Big Ten or SEC team jumping over a undefeated TCU. In no way, shape, or form can I see a 2-loss SEC team jumping over an undefeated TCU.
No, agree.
Well, yeah,
agree.
We agree.
Yeah, that one we agree on, but.
They're sure as not going to make a play for it, though.
Well, but listen, we just got to wait and see how everything plays out, and I think then you can start making. As always, I root for chaos, and even though we do have the expanded playoffs coming, I still want to drum home.
Does chaos help us or hurt us? I think it hurts us.
For Penn State?
Yes.
Specifically? I don't know that it makes much of a difference, to be honest with you. How would it hurt us?
I don't think it hurts us in terms of.
Yeah, I don't think because I think that the teams that we're talking about are all going to be
Ohio State and Michigan to both go. That's what we need.
That would be helpful for sure.
What we need the first thing to happen.
But again, it's not like they're going to fall off the.
Yeah, they don't go to. I mean, I'm sitting there. Okay, I'm looking best case scenario. What is your best case scenario for Penn State?
See, I don't know because that's maybe a point of discussion too. Is the Rose Bowl the short of the college football playoffs? Yeah. I mean, is that really the end objective? And I'll just speak for me and nobody else.
Sure,
but Penn State and Bama in the Sugar Bowl, which we haven't been to in forever, that would be more appealing to me as a fan.
Was the Sugar Bowl even eligible?
Then I don't even know.
I think the Bama game's in the Citrus Bowl.
Penn State and
Bama
whoever the Pac-12 champ is, I don't know that that's as exciting of a matchup to me. So for me, it's more about the matchup than the bowl and the prestige of the bowl.
So I've heard
again, that's just for me.
I've heard Orange Bowl versus an ACC, either UNC or Wake. I've heard Citrus Bowl versus Alabama, LSU, maybe even Will Levis' Kentucky team.
Which would be intriguing.
And I've heard the Rose Bowl versus the Pac-10 champion. But then I also heard the Cotton Bowl versus UCF is one that jumped out at me the other day because I had such a good time. So I'm going to tell you, as a former person, as a player who played in the Rose Bowl, the fact that I could say I played in the Citrus Bowl, the Outback Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, and I say the Rose Bowl, and they say, ooh, it has a lot of clout.
Yeah.
In the future. Going forward and listening to our players talk, they want California. They really, really want that Rose Bowl. That's just it is the name. And I sit there and tell them, I said, guys, it sucks. It's not a fun bowl. It's all spread out. There's not much to do. You're going to get not as much. It's not as glamorous. I mean, people are in Orlando for the Citrus Bowl, for Disney World, and the Citrus Bowl. People are in LA. You're about 54th in line here for the Rose Bowl. They're honest to God, they're more interested in the freaking Rose Parade than they are the Rose Bowl. But it doesn't matter. In the long run, you still played in the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest thing. So I told a story last night's show that in the 05, a lot of those guys we came back and the 05 team, Michael Robb, and they were more upset that they couldn't play in the Rose Bowl because it was like, man, I came to Penn State to play in a Rose Bowl. Whether you won the Big Ten to go to the Rose Bowl or not, hey, 10 years, it doesn't matter. Your ring still has a rose on it. So that's how I feel. I think that's how they feel. But the matchups that are coming out, I mean, they are some freaking blue blood marquee matchups. The Cotton Bowl one was a little weird with UCF, which is okay. But Cotton Bowl, we had such a good time down there a couple of years ago. The Orange Bowl is obviously the Orange Bowl. There's a lot to do down there and a lot to get in trouble in.
Yeah, the issue with the Rose Bowl, at least for me, and I only went to the one, but it was just and it was the one you played in, but it was so spread out that it was hard to like every day you had to kind of map out the itinerary. Now, mind you, at the time, I mean, I'm covering the team, so you
had to do a pep rally here,
having
you had a lunch over here,
and it was like you had to plan. It's an hour to get from one place to another, and then we were
that
staying.
place is 4 miles apart, but it's an hour.
Yeah,
too.
And so it was just, I mean, it was a logistical challenge.
Absolutely, it was.
Covering it. Now, I have never been there as just a fan, so maybe it's a little different. If you're a fan, I mean, you're not trying to get to the practice facilities and all the press conferences and all of that. So I don't know. Maybe it is a better experience as a fan.
Can I go Goon stories?
Yeah, go ahead. Because it was a chat. I think the Rose Bowl was the most, and it was cool. I mean, watching the game and being there. I mean, you definitely soak in the history and all of that. But
that was the key.
Really, it
nothing to be desired out there.
It was not one of the ones that I enjoyed the most in terms of the lead up, in terms of covering it and being able to do different things. The Orange Bowl was a blast. The Fiesta Bowl was a blast.
They make it fun.
Yeah.
The Cotton Bowl, I'm sorry, not the Cotton Bowl, but the Rose Bowl just sits there and says, we're the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
We don't need to roll this out for you. You enjoy it. If you don't have a good time, we're still going to be called the Granddaddy of them all. And it is what it is. Just think of old school Big Ten. That's exactly what it reminds me of. So the late great, God rest his soul, Pat Boland. We're out there for the second Rose Bowl, which would have been the 7 or 8, the AQ Shipley year.
Yep.
So 8. He got 3 car accidents on the way to a radio show with me in it. Like just ding ding. We got hit from behind. Somebody sitting behind us in a traffic jam, and boom, boom. That was one of them. Pulling out of the parking lot, he sideswiped somebody. Pulling into the parking lot, he burrowed. And I'm like, Jesus, God, Pat. And then I got back into State College, and somebody was like, "What? You rode with Boland?" And I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He goes, "Nobody rides with Boland. He is the world's worst driver." So my experiences in the Fiesta Bowl, I was a true freshman. I'm 19. I just turned 19 years old in November. We're out there. We're having a good time. And the Fiesta Bowl, they know players talk. So players talk more now than they did even obviously now. But we were still in contact with guys from other teams when we were playing. So guys, you maybe you'd grown up. I mean, I grew up with a couple guys who played for Notre Dame, a couple guys who played at Maryland, all these different schools. But now they talk more. So the Fiesta Bowl was like, we're the Fiesta Bowl, but we're going to show you a damn good time. And that's what they want. They want their players to have such a good time, and their fans to sit there and say, dude, that Fiesta Bowl is fun. You go to the Fiesta Bowl because you had a fun the last time you won. You go to the Rose Bowl because of the name and name only. Yeah. So we go to the Orange Bowl when I was coaching and this and that, and it's Miami, man. It was just a beautiful. Your hotel's right on the beach for 10 days. They put me in charge of the hospitality room for the Penn State coaches and staff and support and family. Put me in charge of it.
I like it.
I had 10 people. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. We have pen and paper here.
Right over here.
I don't think we have enough of this. I need 10 to 15 bottles of this and 22 to 25 bottles of this. It was unbelievable every day. And I could have put the same order in every day, and they would have showed up with it. They wanted you, your staff, your fans, your people to have a good time, to sit there and to be on the radio 30 years later and sit there and say, you know what, dude, that Orange Bowl was an absolute great, fantastic time. And they love Penn State. The Orange Bowl historically has loved Penn State. Fiesta Bowl has historically loved Penn State.
Big time.
So I love you got to just win out, man. Do your job this weekend, next weekend, get it done. Go in and let sleeping dogs lie and figure out where we're going to go from there. But man, it could be a damn fun time. No matter where we go, we're gonna have a good damn time.
Yeah, I don't think there's much doubt about that.
But the Rose is tough to get to too. That's not cheap right now.
Yeah, that is.
But again,
significant downside.
It is the Rose Bowl, and it is to sit there and say as an ex-player to say that you had played in the Rose Bowl and the ring you get has a big old rose in it. There's not many guys who can say that, and that sort of sets you apart.
Let's
talk about the officiating last night. It was amazing last night.
Have we heard? Is Heineke going to be okay, or is that going to be the end of his career with the vicious headshot
he took to end that game last night? My Lord,
unnecessary brutality by the Eagles yet again. Philadelphia with its well-earned reputation, Goon, for just unnecessary brutality.
You want to hear something weird? I'm happy.
Sure.
I'm not upset with the loss.
That burden does grow as the season goes
you guys
on.
Got it last year,
there's
right?
no question.
Was that last year or 2 years?
A couple years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 11-0 losing to the but it was a COVID game that they lost.
Yeah, but it is. It's as the season goes on, that starts to take on a life of its own. And I hear you. I don't think that's by any stretch the worst thing in the world. I'll tell you the one that is, and we actually had a weekend where the Steelers won and the Eagles lost. Go figure in this NFL season. Thank you, dear Saints, for providing the opportunity.
What was that, 4?
Huh?
4 wins?
Yeah. The Bills, to me, are just fascinating right now because
I'm going to drop a stat on you right now.
Yep, go ahead.
I could not believe what I saw. They have not scored a second-half touchdown since the Chiefs game.
Is that right? Yeah, it's
crazy.
And I know that they have some. I mean, but everybody has some injuries right now, right? Like that. I mean, that's just not.
And I love.
And sometimes it's where the injuries are and all of that. And I know that their O-line got dinged up a bit. But, I mean, Penn State's O-line is dinged up. And you look at the running game that they put together against Maryland. And I don't know. The Bills, I think in some ways probably McDermott is loving the fact that, now everybody's back on the Chiefs bandwagon and the Eagles and Vikings. And now the Bills are just, it also ran. And listen, that team is still the team that I think when it's healthy, that team is still going to be right there and very, very difficult to beat. And they're going to be very hungry when the playoffs roll around. But, as is often the case in the NFL, as we head toward the, stretch run, It really is all about timing and getting losing now is not that big of a deal. And for folks that are getting worked up about the Bills' losses here, listen, you turn it around and go on a winning streak. We'll see what happens with the Packers. Now all of a sudden, Packers fans are excited again.
Yeah, McDermott's great. He's like, everybody has injuries right now. I don't want to hear it. It's not an excuse. We need to do this better, that better. Stop making mistakes at inopportune times. And you get really your quarterback in a little bit because he's trying way too hard to be Brett Favre out there.
Yes.
Did you see on that interception he threw late in the game, not the overtime, but he had a UV nerve issue in his elbow. Well, obviously it's on the outside, right? So the guy's running back. Peterson's running back with his interception, and Allen comes from the outside and tries to punch the ball, misses it, locks his arm out, and punches the ground and stoves his arm. I'm like, dude, you're the starting quarterback. That's not your job. You throw the pick, okay, I understand. Every quarterback wants to make the tackle. Yeah. Those days are over, dude. You're not playing CYO football or high school football anymore. Get the hell out of the way. You're going to get hurt. You get hurt, we're done. That's the bottom line. That's the way he's going to start looking at it.
Yeah. If you're in the playoffs and you're Ben Roethlisberger trying to chase
down a man who just got stabbed that morning,
that's fine.
See, no one talks about the stabbing.
Exactly right. But that's
again, no one talks about the stabbing. He went right over it. No, that man wasn't stabbed.
It has nothing to do with it. It was Ben Roethlisberger's heroics.
Ben Roethlisberger saved Jerome Bettis' career.
No question.
If he doesn't,
Bettis will tell you that. Well, Ben will probably tell you that too.
That's true. Ben will definitely tell you that. That's actually really damn funny.
But anyways, but I think the NFL is just as usual. It's going to be fun to watch. Because once you think you have something figured out, you don't. But that, Mahomes and company is always going to be a tough out. And people are starting to exercise looking at the potential Tom Brady matchups in the playoffs as well. And listen, I would not rule out the Buccaneers either. But that's again the fun of the NFL each year. Is I feel like
Patrick Mahomes has never lost he's never won a road playoff game. They're going down that route once again where they don't have to leave home.
Yep,
they're going right down that route, man. So we were talking. When I was here for lunch before, I was talking to my buddy, and we were talking. Does ESPN not go a day without saying, or an hour without saying the name Aaron Rodgers? I mean, they're putting up they're 3-6 right now, and they're putting up what they have to do to go to the playoffs.
Yep.
And you're like, dude, they're 3-6, and then they go leave that and they go to LeBron James and see what they have to do for him to win the MVP. And you're like, dude, they're 3-9. Like, you have two horrible teams, but they can't stop talking about this too. So I made a take, and I said this: they have been buttering up this Aaron Rodgers guy for the last year, and I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? Tom Brady has signed on with Fox already to be their analyst for the next 15 years once he retires, right? Mm-hmm. So would you put it past ESPN/ABC to be buttering up Aaron Rodgers to be their type of guy? The way I don't understand why they have to talk about him every day. Why? What is the fascination with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers right now? They're not a good team. They're not going to be a good team. I just don't freaking get it. I don't know what to say.
Well, and Sunday, it was the running game that allowed them to beat the Cowboys, and that's the area that if they are going to make any kind of a run, and I don't suspect they will, but if they are, it's going to be because they keep that ground game going. That's kind of the
amount of 14-point leads lost in the second half of this game this past Sunday have just been. I could not believe what I was seeing.
Yeah,
Buffalo lost it. That first of all, Justin Jefferson's catch, sweet Lord.
Yeah,
that blows away OBJ's catch in my opinion. That was the greatest football catch I've ever seen in my life. Easily, what he did there.
Yeah,
I still can't believe it. And then how that whole scenario worked out with the M-Pipe Bulldogs and Nickerson not trying to kneel on the ball. I mean, crazy to think about. And you knew it was coming, but, I mean, you can't – I just can't believe the guy – he fumbled the ball in that end zone. Like, I just take the safety, I guess. I don't know. What were they down? They were up 3, right? Or
was it 4 at that point?
Anyways. Geez, my Louise.
Yeah.
Just crazy. But what a weekend. It's shaping up to be a pretty good damn December, January. Interesting, because there's a lot of teams that can still win the Super Bowl. There's no clear-cut number one out there.
For sure. No, and I think, again, it's going to be who gets – it's going to be matchups, who gets hot at the right time, and who's healthiest. And that's, as is almost always the case. Like, that's the key to being able to at least give yourself a chance and make a run. And then, you need a few breaks along the way as well. Watching, I have on the horrible TV screen down here the press conference with Tony Elliott, the head coach of Virginia's football program. And, of course, everybody's heart breaks for the 3 players killed. And
2 others that are injured
absolutely senseless. And
you ever have to see what's going on there? There are 2 more guys. Mike Hollis is wounded and unstable. Yeah. He's stable now at least. Yeah. He did say he was in critical yesterday. So, Godspeed, man. Good. God bless you guys.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, it's.
Don't want to know why.
Can't get.
I really want to know why, and it can something be that bad. So.
Just insane. And good luck also to the State College football team. We'll talk maybe a little bit about that on Thursday as well. Locally, they'll take on McDowell in the opening round of the PIAA state playoffs. Yeah, that game will be at Memorial.
Is it really?
Field. Yep. Yeah, which usually State College is traveling.
Yeah, exactly.
Good distances. But this year for the
this weekend,
and if State High beats McDowell, then they'll be home again the following weeks against Whippeal teams. So, either North Allegheny or Central Catholic. So
that is the time I root for State College High.
Should be a whole lot of fun. We will be back on Thursday, and we'll have lots more to talk about then for sure, and break down a little bit more the Penn State-Rutgers game. Until Thursday, be good and be safe.
Make more good in the all-new Sportage X-Pro. Kia, movement that inspires.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
New Trail Brewing Company proudly crafts their beers right here in central Pennsylvania. Brewed with only the best possible ingredients, New Trail produces a variety of year-round brands as well as weekly experimental recipes. New Trail Broken Heels is Pennsylvania's favorite local hazy IPA. This beer is smooth and full-bodied. Hand-selected Citra hops lead to notes of bright clementine and juicy ruby red grapefruit. Broken Heels is perfect for a pregame tailgate all the way through the victory celebration.
What's the best mid-size pickup? Tacoma. What's the #1 mid-size truck in resale value? Tacoma. Want to get great gas mileage, 4 doors, and 4-wheel drive? Tacoma. Sioka Toyota of Williamsport has over 25 available right now. You can lease a brand new, never-driven Toyota Tacoma for just $379 a month. That's 30 months, 3,000 cash or trade, 10,000 miles a year. This is while supplies last. Buy yours or reserve yours today and see the Sioka difference. And remember, tell them Johnny sent you.